Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the third session of our fifth series, which is called Mindfulness in Daily Life. So it's lovely to see you all again. Thank you for being here. So mindfulness in daily life is exactly at the kitchen sink. It's about being mindful right where we are. It's about not needing to have extra. It's about just incorporating our mindfulness practice as we go about. It's not actually taking a separate time, which is a really good thing to do. But this is just actually about incorporating into the things we already do, like washing dishes and eating our food and things like that. So let's continue. What we're going to do today, we're going to recap what is mindfulness, some of the challenges. We're going to do morning mindfulness, mindful eating, mindful movement, mindful communication, workplace mindfulness, digital mindfulness, evening wind down, and the foundations of well-being. So let's recap. What is mindfulness? It's being fully present in the moment, observing our thoughts and our feelings without judging them, and cultivating awareness of ourselves and our surroundings without judgment and with kindness, with self-compassion. So I've highlighted these two, without judgment and with self-compassion, because these are the hardest bits of mindfulness and also they're the most important. So letting go of criticizing yourself and others and what's happening, and bringing in some warmth, some kindness to yourself and others and the circumstances. And if we can do these things, then we're very nearly enlightened. But it's a practice and takes time, and we can do it. That's the good news. So what are the benefits of doing this? Really quite profound. It can reduce stress and anxiety, enhance focus, concentration, and productivity, improve emotional regulation and well-being, promote better relationships, enhance sleep quality, and increase our self-awareness, which is all good things. So these are some of the things that come up that I suppose interfere with people's belief or capacity that they can do it. Um, if I had a pound for the amount of time somebody says, "Regine, I have a really busy mind, my mind's really busy," and I'm like, that's normal. I have a busy mind too. Everybody's mind is busy. It's the nature of the mind. In fact, they say the default mode of the mind, if you don't have something particular for the mind to do, the default mode of the mind is to wander, to go here and to go there, to go off into the past, to run off into the future. This is actually one thing that Buddy can't do. He's so smart, he understands everything, but he doesn't understand yesterday or tomorrow. Can only be present. If I say, I'm not even going to say, if I say somebody's name who Buddy knows, he'll go crazy. So I'm not going to say the name, but if I say they're coming, he thinks they're coming now, and I'm like, no, tomorrow, it's tomorrow. Or I'm like, I was talking about when they came yesterday. He doesn't understand. He only understands the now. But we have these big brains, and we do understand yesterday, and we do understand tomorrow, and our mind likes to go to those places. And when we practice mindfulness, we want to practice bringing the mind into the now, being exactly like a wee dog, just being here now and not worrying about what's going to happen and regretting and ruminating what already happened. Just actually being present for our life in this moment. Yeah. And again, it's not always easy, it's a practice. So the mind wandering is normal. And if you find when I do a wee meditation with you, which I'm going to do this morning, that your mind is wandering, know that that's normal. And that is actually part of the practice. It's not as like you're doing anything wrong or anything like that. The other kind of challenge that people face or say that they have an issue with is that they're just too busy and they don't have time. And so well done, everybody, for coming today and taking a whole hour out of your week. But generally, we can feel like we don't have enough time to do. Maybe people say do 10 minutes in the morning, do 10 minutes in the evening. They're like, I don't even have 10 minutes. And if you have kids, if you have a job, if you're doing lots of things, it can be really difficult. But actually, you can start with 1 minute. In 24 hours, hopefully, we all have at least 1 minute that we can devote to ourselves, to stopping, And the way another metaphor for the mind is like a glass of muddy water. And if I said to you, can you make this water clear for me? You might think about that, like, how would I make it clear? Maybe I could filter it. Maybe I could boil it. There's lots of ways you might think, how am I going to make this water clear? But actually, all you need to do is just sit it down, put it on the table, and leave it alone. And after a while, all that mud, all the sediment, it'll all go to the bottom and the water becomes clear. That's exactly like the mind. We just need to spend some time letting everything settle down. And if we only have 1 minute to do that, then we have to give ourselves that 1 minute. We have 10 minutes, we have half an hour, even better. But finding some time to allow all the stuff in the mind to settle down, even when we're busy, and especially when we're busy. That's what they say. You should meditate for an hour every day. And if you're too busy, then you should meditate for 2 hours. I do a half an hour in the morning. You're all welcome to join me for half an hour in the morning on Zoom. Okay, for getting to practice. That's another thing. We're too busy. We ended up, we got through the day and then we're really tired and we're going to bed and we're like, oh, I forgot to do my practice, forgot to meditate. So you need to set a reminder. You need to put up wee signs around your house saying breathe. You need to do your traffic light meditation, which is when you see the stop sign, stopping and breathing. When you hear the church bell, remembering, coming back to the breath. Putting wee alarms on your phone. I have a friend and she has an alarm to meditate in her phone, so you can do that. The other challenge is that everybody wants instant results. Nobody wants to wait anymore. Who's got time for that? We even want to get our apples already pre-sliced and peeled. We don't have time to do it ourselves. We want everything instant. We want everything now. Fast food, fast this, fast that. And although mindfulness can bring relief straight away, especially if we practiced and we know how to stop, the results really come through time. And this is what the brain scans and the neuroscience show, that it takes time to feel the real benefits of the practice. So you need to be patient. You need to just give yourself time, at least 8 weeks of practicing every day. And then you'll really start to feel a big difference. And you could be lucky, you might feel a difference right away. But generally speaking, it has a cumulative effect, so it happens over time. And then the final one is that small steps lead to big changes. And this is true of all the research on habits and making habits and habit energy, is that it's not trying to do everything all in one go. And I'm going to meditate for an hour every morning, and I'm going to do an hour every night, and I'm going to do mindful movement. And that's all ambitious and good. But actually, it's better to say, I'm going to do 5 minutes every day. And then after a month of doing 5 minutes every day, you build that up to 10 minutes. So it's the small steps that make the biggest difference. Research has shown that mindful breathing meditations are effective at breaking repetitive negative thinking and increasing optimism about the future. So this practice is so helpful for our well-being, so helpful for our general mental health. So let me see. Tammy has sent a message. It was great to learn that Libraries NI have teamed up with Deafblind UK to provide information points and support at libraries across Northern Ireland to those with sensory issues. With this in mind, and given we're often directed to listen to sounds around us and really hear them, can you suggest tips for those suffering hearing loss, reduction, tinnitus, how to achieve benefit from such meditations? Similarly, when saying to look around and really take in what we see, any tips for those with blindness or other sight issues? Okay, Tommy, I'm going to do a wee meditation with you all now, and I'll focus a little bit on the senses, on hearing and on seeing. I'm not specifically trained for these groups, for people who are hard of hearing or facing sight issues. But what I would say is, if you can get at least a little bit, so you just notice what you notice. And you might not have 20/20 vision, you might not have perfect hearing, but you'll be able to hear something. You'll be able to see something. So it's about noticing what you can notice, not comparing yourself to other people or to your previous self. It's about right now, what's noticing, and being kind and gentle with your experience. And if you find it triggering or difficult because you're suffering, to just stop and do something else. Okay, don't allow yourself to feel overwhelmed. Just and sometimes what we can do is focus on another sense if one sense is not working. Okay, so I have actually done a class for people who suffered from tinnitus, and sometimes what they say, especially in this kind of mindfulness teaching, is that you go into the suffering. So you really go into the sound, the tinnitus, the ringing, rather than constantly spend all your energy blocking it out and trying to go against it, is actually start to allow it in a wee bit. But that's for you to, for those who are suffering from that, to experiment and see does it work for them. Okay, I wouldn't like to say anything prescriptively, this is what it is, because I haven't specifically done any long-term work in that. It might be something you could look into if you're interested. I'm sure there's loads of research on these things. Um, and often when we are suffering from a sense loss in one area, our other senses actually increase. Okay, but thanks for bringing that up, Tammy. So let's sit now for a few minutes, just a few minutes. Hopefully we all can take 5 to 10 minutes out of our day and just stop and be that glass of muddy water that's going to sit and clear. Okay, so allow yourself to sit straight and beautiful. If you feel really tired this morning, you're welcome to lie down, but as best you can, taking your seat, maybe placing a hand on the heart and feeling the breath moving in the body. If it's okay for you to do that. So everything I'm saying is an invitation. If your particular body, your particular mind doesn't like some of my instructions, just ignore them. Feel free to ignore them, okay? So you do what works for you. And at the same time, trying things as well, because sometimes it's good to sit with the difficulty and to be with it rather than seeking comfort all the time, to actually be with how it is and really be curious and interested. How it is to stop, how it is to sit and do nothing, nowhere to go, nothing to do. So John Paul Sartre, somebody said, all of man's problems are caused by his inability to sit in a room alone and do nothing. And they even did these experiments. They had people sit in an empty room for 15 minutes, and the only thing in the room was like a staple gun or something that they could hurt themselves with. And most people sat and hurt themselves, started to, put it into their arm and their hand because they just couldn't sit and do nothing. So it's really hard. So if you can sit and just be, you're already doing better than the majority. And we can train ourselves to enjoy this opportunity to settle, to allow all the muddy water to come down. So if you like, you can bring the torch beam of your attention onto the breath and allow the inhale and the exhale. Feel the body breathing. Notice where in the body that you can feel the breath most vividly. Maybe you're aware of it at the nostrils. the throat. Just notice, being curious. There's no right or wrong way to breathe. If you have your hand on your heart, you might feel the chest expanding, contracting. You might take your other hand, put it on your belly. Abdomen rising, abdomen falling. You might like to close your eyes. Might help you to feel the breath. You can keep them open if you prefer. It's really just choice. Eyes open, eyes closed. There's no one better than the other. If you're tired, it might be better to keep them open. If you're distracted, it might be better to keep them closed. Just a few moments of this mindfulness of breathing. Mindfulness of breathing is just when I breathe in, I know that I am breathing in. When I breathe out, I know that I am breathing out. It's not special breathing, it's not pranayama, it's not hyperventilating. You're already breathing, you're just noticing the breath. You can't do it wrong. It's happening automatically. This simple breath that keeps us alive. What we're doing is we're using that part of our brain that can notice, that can be aware, the observer. And let's just spend a few minutes with the kind of a 25% attention on our breath and a good bit of our attention onto sounds. Just allowing the sounds to come to the ears. Sounds in the distance, with traffic, neighbours in the street. Just allowing sound to be sound, not judging, not commenting, not making a story out of it. Observing sound as sound. And even if you are suffering from hearing loss or reduction or tinnitus, can still benefit from just noticing what you can notice. Just paying attention. How about sounds closer? Sounds in the room? The pipes in my radiator make noise. The banging noise. Sometimes body size. Just noticing what sounds there are. Don't even have to know what it is. Notice the tone, timbre, pitch, frequency of the sound. Maybe the sound of your own breathing, heart beating. Sometimes we can have that awareness of sound of the body. Sometimes we can't. So just notice what It's here for you. You can hear. With eyes open or eyes closed, noticing what you can see. Colors, textures, shades, light and dark, shape, form. Not commenting, not judging. Mindfulness of seeing, noticing what's there. And even if you have blindness or other side issues, maybe there's some forms, some shapes, even if it's blurry. It's what's before the eyes. It's not judging or making a story, just observing. Just compassionate observer. Not getting sucked into the storyline or what happened. Just here now, noticing. There's our sight and our hearing are very important senses. We also have the sense of taste. You can still taste the coffee or what you had for breakfast, or the toothpaste, or just a neutral taste. And with the smell of the coffee, or a candle burning. You have the window open, maybe the outside world coming in. It's not judging, just noticing. Sometimes say we can't taste anything, we can't smell anything. That's okay, that's your experience. There's no right or wrong, just notice. Sense of touch. The hands in contact with the body, the clothing, contact with the skin, the air around the face, the hair in the head, the feet in the slippers or the shoes, heat or coolness, heaviness, lightness. So that 25% attention on the breath, or of the five senses: sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. When we're really aware of even just one of the senses, become really present. And again, I think of my dog sniffing. Really just in the moment. And we can smile, do some mouth yoga. Smile at appreciation for what we can see, hear, smell, taste, touch, or at our predicament, any suffering. Having that attitude of smile. Breathing in, I smile. Breathing out, I release. Smiling, releasing. Letting go, letting be. And with that, I'm going to bring you back. coming on back to our mindfulness in daily life. We might not always have time to do a full kind of sitting practice like that, but when we're out and about, when we're in different places, we can notice our senses, we can pay attention. Even when we're talking to someone else, we can notice what's coming in, what our senses are experiencing, and have a little bit of attention on the present moment and what's here now, on our thoughts and feelings. This is possible. Let's talk about morning mindfulness. You might want to do this with me to make sure that you're woke up after that meditation. Take 3 deep breaths in. Inhale. And do a big sigh out. Let's do that twice more. Inhale. And this loud, audible sigh, this is a signaling to your nervous system that you feel safe, that you're waking up. Inhale. Hold it. You might want to roll your shoulders back. Roll your shoulders forward. And do a wee twist in the chair. So morning mindfulness is just about being present, moving the body, using your breath to help you to wake up. If you're getting your shower in the morning, notice the sensation of water. That's very sensory experience. The shower, the hot or the cold on the body, the pressure of the water, the smell of the shower gel. There's a lot of senses there. It can be a really good place to practice mindfulness. Being present while you're drinking your morning tea. You know, we have a few minutes, hopefully, every day. If you don't drink tea or coffee, whatever you have in the morning, even if it's just warm water, feeling the heat around the hands, smelling it, tasting it, taking your time, enjoying, observing your surroundings. Mindful eating, we usually eat breakfast in the morning too, so this could still be happening in the morning. Looking at your food before you eat it, noticing colors, textures, flavors, and smells. Avoiding putting the TV, the radio, or the phone on straight away. Maybe giving yourself half an hour before you do that. Allowing yourself just to wake up gently and slowly without kind of bombarding the senses. Eat slowly and savor each bite. It's precious to eat. I'm going to do a new series going forward after April. We're going to start these mornings again, and there's going to be a 4-week mindful eating course. So you can come to that, and we'll go into mindful eating a lot more. Chew slowly and deliberately. You're supposed to chew each mouthful 40 or 50 times. If you can get to 20, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? See if you can count your chews. Put your utensils down between bites. That's a really nice way to slow down. Instead of loading up the next mouthful while you're chewing, just put them down. Just be with what's there. And then do the next mouthful and put it in. And the last couple of weeks I told you the story about the lady who did my mindfulness-based stress reduction course. So on the MBSR, it's called. I think it's the first week I asked people to do a mindful eating challenge. So you might want to do this challenge. Maybe some of you have already done it. You can let me know in the comments. And the mindful eating challenge is that between now, say for example, now next Tuesday, you have 21 opportunities to do this. And I'm just asking you to do it one time. Because if you have 3 meals a day and there's 7 days, that's 21 times you're going to be having a meal. And I want you to have one meal just with your food. So no TV, no radio, no phone, no book, no conversations, no kids, just you and the food. And you do all the things that's listed here. You notice the food, the taste, the textures, you slow down and you really enjoy it. Like it's precious to eat, you know, like you've been hiking all day and then you find a wee snack at the bottom of the rucksack and you're really just going to enjoy it. Yeah, so like that with the food. So anyway, this lady one of the ladies who did my MBSR course back in the day when it was in person, she was like an A student, you know, the people who sign up and then they want to do everything right. And she decided she was going to do it every day, not just one day. And she decided she was going to do it breakfast. And she came back the next week and she said the first thing she noticed was their house makes all these noises. She never noticed it before because she always just had the radio on straight away. And the second thing she noticed was the sound of the birds that she didn't realize she could hear from her kitchen. And the third thing she said was, by the end of the week, I realized that Shreddies taste like cardboard. So she'd been having Shreddies and milk every day for years, and she was never really tasting it. She was just getting on with her day, shoving down the cereal and not really enjoying it. But when she had everything slowed down, she really began to realize, what am I eating? So you can get your own wee insights when you do that practice. So I invite you to give it a go. Also, if you can't be bothered to do that or it feels too much, do it with your tea. This is my teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh. He says, drink your tea slowly and reverently, as if it is the axis on which the world earth revolves. Slowly, evenly, without rushing towards the future. Live the actual moment. Only this moment is life. So, we're only here for a short time, however long we live, and yet we're always powering through, always going to the next thing. So actually, just enjoy. Just sit, take that moment, like the TV ad, make it real. Be present for your cup of tea and let me know how you get on. So let's talk mindful movement. I was going to say you all were asking for mindful movement. At least two or three of you asked me for mindful movement again. So my next series after this one finishes will be mindful movement. It's going to be for 4 weeks. It's going to be a repeat of the one we've already done because you wanted to do it again. That's also on the library YouTube, so you can have a look at that. But we'll do it again starting in April. But you don't have to come to that class. You can actually do mindful movement today. You can feel your feet touching the ground while you're walking. And this is the act of feeling your feet, being aware of your steps, then makes your walk a mindful walk. So mindful movement, mindful walking, it's just doing whatever you're doing, whatever movement you're doing, if it's walking or exercising, it's bringing the mind of mindfulness into that activity. And the mind of mindfulness observes what's happening in the moment. It doesn't go off into thinking, what about this and what about that? And now I have to do this meeting and then, what am I going to wear tomorrow? And, it's actually just here now. Feel the feet on the ground. Yeah. Notice the arms going from side to side. Notice your breathing. Does your breathing change when you're walking? When you're walking fast or walking slow? Pay attention to those body sensations. You can feel yourself maybe getting warmer, maybe getting a wee bit out of breath, or not, just notice. And of course, the mindful stretching. And that's what we're going to do in the series in April. Let's do a little bit now. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale. Okay, inhale. Exhale. Do it right here at your desk while you're sitting. Inhale. Exhale. So it doesn't have to be a huge big deal to do mindful movement. It's just stretching the body, moving the body, paying attention, noticing what's there. Mindful communication. Mindful communication is really about mindful listening. And if you come to any of my workshops, quite often I'll do a wee mindful listening exercise where one person speaks and the other one listens and they're not allowed to talk. And then I ask them how it was. And when they're not allowed to talk, it's really difficult. You will be surprised if the next time you're in a conversation, especially maybe with a group of people, how many people are interrupting and jumping in all the time. One person saying they went to Spain and what they did, and the other person's going, I was there in 1984, and da, da, da. And they're like, they have to tell their story before the person can really even get their story out. So, mindful listening is about giving your full attention to the person who's speaking and not thinking, oh, I can't wait so I can tell them about this and I did this and da 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 da, and start thinking about what you're going to say while the other person's speaking. It's actually just allowing yourself to listen and hear what they're saying. Notice tone, facial expression, words and emotions, and take a breath before responding. You don't have to be so quick to jump in there. Hopefully it'll be, if it's a friend or a work colleague, that you'll have time to be heard and practice empathy. We're very good at judging other people, but we don't know what other people are dealing with, what their situation might be, and why they may be saying what they're saying or communicating the way they're communicating. So try to give them some empathy um, for what they might be going through. Yeah, it's about considering um, where the other person's coming from, because we're all different and we all come from different places and we all have different views. So if we want to be mindful in our communication, we want to stop and pause, really listen before we respond. And again, this is a very challenging area of mindfulness because quite often we think we know what's right or we want to say this or this is our experience, but actually it might be better to pause and then respond. And with that, I'm going to pause and just see, is there anything coming up for anybody? Anything you want to share or anything you want to tell me about your mindful eating experiences or your mindful listening experiences this week?
Whenever you were saying about the mindful communication and about listening, and not jumping in, I thought of another side of that, which is when people are maybe anxious about what to say or don't know what to say, and rather than listening, they're spending the whole time thinking, what am I going to say next? Or practicing or formulating different things in your mind about what to say. And I just wondered if maybe mindful listening would be helpful in that circumstance. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Around it 100%. Because anxiety is a lot of time anticipating the future. Oh, I'll have to speak next and I better think about what I'm going to say. And actually, if you really just spend the time listening, you're going to get you're going to be able to respond to the person. You won't have to think about what you're going to say. You'll have something will just arise. Allow your response to come from your heart rather to come from your mind. And if you're thinking, it's coming from the mind, but a better response is going to come from the heart. So you might feel something in response to what the person said. Um, and I do believe that the heart is more intelligent than the brain. That's what they say. So um, to know that it's okay just to listen, you don't have to say very much. Like there's people like me, I'm a bit of a talking machine. My wee daughter's 3, she's the same. I don't know how good that is because my husband, he doesn't talk very much. It's probably better. You can be a person who you don't have to talk. You can listen. You can take your time. And actually, people generally think you're smarter the less you say. So, um, I think take the pressure off. You don't have to talk a lot. Um, yeah. Gail says, I've always walked very fast, but now I'm trying to walk a bit slower and take in surroundings more and appreciate nature. That's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. It's the same with speaking, to try and speak slower. This is something that I should really practice more. I want to tell you all the information. I have to go really fast. And you can actually hear me better if I slow down, if I pause. Allows you also to take the information in and maybe reflect on it. If I'm going fast. And it's the same exactly what Gail said about the walk. Sometimes you want to walk for exercise, you want to go fast. If you're on the New York subway, you have to go with the flow with everybody else. You can't walk slow. Um, but when you have a chance, when you're maybe just out with a friend, maybe you're just going for a walk along the shore, you can slow down. You can appreciate it. Look at the sky. Look at the wee dogs. Look at the lovely spring flowers coming, the daffodils, and just take it in rather than hurrying all the time. And even when you're hurrying, you can hurry mindfully. You can be aware, I'm going fast, I'm walking fast, I'm in a hurry. You can actually just observe what's going on. Tammy says, thank you for earlier encouraging response. Yes, I agree. Mindfulness has many options for people with sensory issues. Hopefully, the new library's info points will help encourage people with sensory issues who might benefit from online classes such as this. Yeah, 100%. Everyone's welcome to try it out. It might not work, but there might be something useful. And if people want to come and they have sensory issues, we can do our best to adapt to them as well, so it can be helpful for everyone. And yes, I'm very willing to listen. So we have to practice what we're preaching here, and we can listen to what people need or what would be helpful. For sure. What else do I have? Thank you for that feedback, guys. Let me see. Um, Mindful communication, workplace mindfulness. So, workplace can be a challenging place to practice mindfulness. Often I get asked to go into companies and give them a talk, but it's usually once a year, maybe for an hour if I'm lucky. Sometimes you only get 20 minutes. And the HR people or whoever, they just want to tick a box and say, oh, we let our people know about mindfulness. But actually, we really need to have a mindful environment. We can't just have, you know, once a year somebody comes in and talks about mindfulness, or that person over there, they do mindfulness. We all need to do it. We need to be aware of slowing down and well-being within the workplace. And I've written here a mindful break every 20 minutes because, and I don't mean like a 20-minute break. I mean, just 2 minutes of not looking at the screen. If you're looking at the screen for 20 minutes, maybe you've been listening to me now for over half an hour, you might want to look around the room, look somewhere else. It's really intense just to be looking at the screen all the time and focusing. So it could be 20 minutes concentration work and 5-minute break, and then 20 minutes concentration work. It's much better than doing 2 hours straight and then having a headache. Yeah. Focus on one task at a time. I know this is actually hard for women because women are multitaskers. It's how our brains are wired. We have all these cross connections and we can multitask much better than men, but it's not a good idea. It's better to do one thing at a time. And so be mindful, just do one thing at a time if you can. Notice your posture, especially when we're on computer screens or on phones. We can start to get really hunched over, and then we end up we got stuck like that. So put your shoulders back, sit up nice and straight, uncross your legs, because crossing our legs is like twisting our hips, and it's better for our posture to have just 2 feet flat on the ground. So I almost have to train myself to sit like that because I'm used to, crossing one leg, crossing another leg. We get used to sitting like that, but trying to sit, taking up space, being confident, having your 2 feet flat on the floor, it's going to give you more presence as well. Um, Use conscious deep breathing during stress. So you might be in a stressful meeting, you might be going in to do a presentation or something stressful. So remembering to breathe, remembering that this deep breathing is going to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest rather than fight, flight, and freeze. So we can freeze when we're stressed, we can flight, which is run away, and we can start to fight and get aggressive um, when we're stressed. So if we can come back and breathe, even just, every 20 minutes, take 3 breaths. This is just some ideas. Digital mindfulness. As we know, our whole world is interconnected now with these digital devices, and they really are addictive and they steal our attention. So it's about taking your attention back, setting boundaries with your device usage, taking regular screen breaks, noticing the urge to check it. Have I got any messages? Turn off your notifications, and practice mindful social media consumption. So be aware of who it is that you're following. You might be following lots of people that make you feel bad about your life because they have wonderful lives, or you might be just scrolling mindlessly. And they say it's much better if you actually interact a wee bit on social media. If you like and comment and share, you actually take part in it rather than just scrolling mindlessly, because you're not really being social, you're just looking. And when we practice mindfulness, we want to just look at our mind, but we're on social media, it's better to interact with it and to try as much as you can to choose um your consumption rather than let your consumption be stolen, because we have all these headlines that are what's called clickbait. So it says, oh my goodness, this terrible thing has happened, and then you click on that link, and then it's like, oh, this other terrible thing's happened, then you click on that link and you find yourself down a rabbit hole that you never intended to go. So you might say, I really want to go on social media and look for well-being tips, and I'm just going to stay in that, and I'm going to do 15 minutes and that's it. So you can kind of work with that. It's not easy because it's addictive and it's been trained to be addictive. And one wee tip I heard yesterday, which I thought was very good, is to set your phone to grayscale, because it's all bright and colorful. It takes your attention more. But if you put it on grayscale, which you can do in your settings, you're going to spend 56% less time on it. So that's an idea for some people, maybe even for a few hours a day, put the phone in grayscale. Um, I love this big cartoon. It's just something I do every day at 5 o'clock to get rid of stress before I go home. I move more throughout the day. I take 3 deep breaths, visualize positive outcomes before meetings. That's our PNT. Let's focus on the positive. Listen fully without an agenda and find the positive in any situation as far as we can. There's 5 wee tips. Make it fun. So actually one of the things that I'll do in our upcoming sessions is about awakening joy. So this is about enjoying your mindfulness practice and looking at your intention. Why are you here today? What made you come along to this call? And stay connected with that, and that will help you stay connected with the practice, with what you're doing. And we'll do more awakening joy in future. Evening wind down. Create a more mindful bedtime routine. Reflect on 3 positive moments. Practice gratitude. Let go of the day stress. Be patient and compassionate with yourself. Put the phone away, not on your face like this woman in the picture. Yeah, we'll talk a wee bit more about some of these things, but it's important even just to think about your bedtime routine and what way you end up and how the state of your bedroom, if you have lots of screens in there or it's very messy, you want to keep your bedroom nice and cool and calm to help you unwind the mind. So just to get started on mindfulness in daily life, choose one mindful activity. Choose one activity to practice mindfully. So that could be cleaning your teeth. It could be washing the dishes. It could be putting on your makeup, taking off your makeup, having a shave. Choose one activity that you're going to do, say every day between now and next week, and just do it mindfully. And then you can add to it and be kind to yourself. Notice small improvements. Remember, mindfulness is a practice, not perfection. Every moment is an opportunity. Even just this picture, we can see that this girl doesn't have a full arm, and yet she's still doing yoga. So even when we have limitations, there's things that we can do within those limitations. So everybody needs to work with where they are. Start where you are. Yeah. Life is hard. We need tools. So mindfulness can be used as a tool to help us. And these are the foundations of well-being. So mindfulness can't solve everything, but within the context of being mindful of how you're living, how much sleep you're getting, what you're eating, what we consume affects our ability to be mindful, to be present, our stress levels. Exercise is the number one thing we can do for our mental health. So any kind of movement at all is going to be helpful. Meditation, of course. Calm is a superpower. Connection to nature, animals, people. The human being is a social being. So trying not to be cutting yourself off, but actually realizing our interconnectedness is very important. Talked a lot about this in previous weeks, the random acts of kindness. You're always, always the first recipient of your own kindness. So if you do something for somebody else, you feel the benefit straight away. So this is something you can do to give your well-being a boost. You can obviously donate money, you can help somebody out, you can let somebody out in traffic. There's lots of simple things that you can do. I shared about one of my students who bought a day's parking and left it on the machine for somebody else to get, and she will never know who it was. So it's even better if you can do your random act of kindness anonymously. Another mother and daughter, they decided to go and buy stuff for some homeless people who live near them and just go around and give it out, which was really kind. So there's lots of ideas. You can put some chocolate on your co-worker's desk and don't say who it was or who did it. You can leave wee notes for people. You can clean somebody's shoes when it's not your job. All sorts of ideas. You may have your own ideas. You might want to let me know in the comments or share what you've done in that area. Gratitude. It was on the list there for nighttime mindfulness. You can write down 3 things every day that you feel grateful for. You can do it in the evening or first thing in the morning. Research has shown that practicing gratitude rewires your brain towards happiness and contentment. It's a really powerful practice. And we have done in some of our previous classes the 10 finger gratitude exercise. I don't think we have time. We might have time at the end of the class to do that. But yeah, just thinking about what you're grateful for will make you happier. And the problem is that the things that we're grateful for, they don't hurt us. And so we easily forget them. We're too busy thinking about the things that might hurt us and all the disastrous things in the world. So we really need to train our mind to remember how fortunate we are. And this will make us happier and more contented. This is kind of the advanced mindfulness practice, breathing with the feelings. So when we practice mindfulness for a while, we start to be able to incorporate the more difficult feelings. So sometimes there's a tendency to portray mindfulness as something pink and fluffy, something, we're just going to sit here cross-legged and think of pink fluffy clouds. But actually, sometimes when we just sit, lots of painful feelings can arise, and it's hard. It's easier just to get up and do something instead of just staying with it. So I do like this picture of the girl with the tarantula on her face. She's not running out of the room. She's just allowing it to be there. And what we find when we do this is that the difficult things can change when we can give some space for them. So these are just some ways that we can start to deepen our practice. These are links to organizations that you can find more about, more information, more practices. The Mental Health Foundation, the Oxford Mindfulness Centre, Harvard University, Bangor University. That's where I did my master's in mindfulness. All of these websites have loads of links to research and study and lots of ways that you can be more mindful. The National Institute for Care and Excellence, NICE, they recommend that depression be treated by the NHS via mindfulness programs in MBCT, mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. These are 8-week programs. I'm not sure if it's happening in Northern Ireland. It's definitely happening in England. Again, Mindful Nation UK has taught mindfulness to 130 MPs in the UK Parliament. I don't think any of them are from Northern Ireland. If anybody knows any mindful MPs, please let me know. But it could happen yet. Still, we're always a few years behind, aren't we? And I have 17 actually meditations freely available on the Insight Timer app. So if you have 4 minutes or you have 50 minutes, there's something here for you. Just take the time. You can do it in bed at night as well, maybe before you go to sleep or if you wake up in the night. There you go. This is the future vision of Michelle and Emma doing their mindfulness before they go into the Stormont. You can check out all my courses, book clubs, and morning meditations that I have available. Let me see. I'm going to look at your messages. Oh, yes, that's just from Sheila to register for next week. Yeah, you have to register for every session. So these mindfulness and daily life classes, we have 2 more left the next 2 weeks. And then I think there's like a 2-week break. And then we start again with mindful movement in April. We've got 3 minutes left. Let's do some gratitude practice. This is going to take us 2 minutes. And hopefully it will, if you pay attention, you can notice what it does to your mind and let me know. So I want you to hold your thumb, close your eyes, think of one thing that you feel grateful for. And when you really felt gratitude for that, I want you to move to the next finger and think of something else. And then the next finger. And of course, you're going to think about the people in your life. Maybe your car, your house. You can always be grateful to have a roof over our head. Your pets, children. The fact that it's sunny today. So I want you to think about the little things. Every time we do this practice, we can think about those important people, those important things that we're really grateful for, but also to train our mind to look for little things to feel gratitude for. As we go about our day, as we go about our daily life, um, we can think of things to add to our gratitude list. And I like to share that one about the girl who said she was grateful for buttons, and somebody else said, yeah, chocolate buttons. Grateful for that nice hot cup of coffee that woke me up this morning. Grateful to Libraries NI for bringing us all together here, for providing a platform for these classes. Grateful for you all showing up today, for practicing with me. Grateful to all the teachers who passed on their practices. That literally took us 2 minutes. It's something you can incorporate into your daily life. Everyone has 2 minutes. And so with that, it's 12 o'clock. So I'm going to let you go and say, I'll see you back here next Tuesday at 11. Thank you so much, everybody.